Welcome to the Accidental Experts podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Hamilton. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a child and family therapist. I have been in practice for over 15 years, and I'm also a mom of 4. So I know the challenges both professionally and personally. I'm so glad that you're here today to grow your parenting toolbox. Please come as you are and be ready to learn. My goal is to make you the accidental expert so that you can raise healthy humans. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so excited you're here today. We are going to be talking about why recess is going to equal success. You are going to want to hear this episode because we are going to be talking to a principal who is a pioneer. She is out of Virginia. Her name is Janie Hovatter, and she is the principal of Garland Quarles Elementary School in Virginia. And she's going to be talking to us about how she implemented 4 recesses for her kids and how this is increasing their test scores, increasing student attendance, increasing student happiness, student learning, relationships, all the things, everything we want for our kids. This could be the thing that is helping to change the way that our schools are run. She's also seeing decrease in behavior. So with that, let's get to Janie.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So we're going to be talking about this cool thing that you're doing at your school, and it's having a lot of success. And I would love to hear about it. What's going on at your school that is so special?
Well, thank you. We actually call it recess equals success. Essentially, we have 4 recesses a day for every child at our school. And it has been working very well. We've done it before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. And we're very, very proud of how it's working for us.
And remind me, what grades do you have at your school?
Thank you. Pre-K through 4.
Awesome. So everybody, every day gets 4 recesses.
Correct.
This is unheard of.
Well, let me clarify a little bit there.
Yeah.
Pre-K is a little separate curriculum, but even they have increased their amount of time. And it's really a pleasure to see the little pre-K outside with our older students. But yes, indeed, everybody gets 4 recesses every day. Yes.
I love this. Okay, so what motivated you to make this change? How did you come to this information? Tell me all the data.
Thank you. I was blessed to be a part of the Global Educational Learning Tour, and we went to Finland. And when we were in Finland, we were seeing, the schools on the tour. Well, we noticed the school right beside our hotel in Helsinki, and we became friends with them. And I watched the children out in negative 23-degree temperature with 3 feet of snow, happily, gleefully playing. And then I was invited into their school and I saw how quickly their transitions were. And I thought, we don't have that kind of snow in Virginia. I started sending video footage in real time to my staff to say, hey, what do you all think? And they were blown away and they're like, yeah, let's look into this. So that's how it started.
You're saying that you had transition times that were longer. Tell me, what was the problem that you saw?
I'm so glad you asked that, because typically that's why people don't want to increase recess, because people are not aware of how quickly the transition can be made. Basically, you're thinking of a teacher raising their hand and waiting until the kids finally see the whistle and they finally come. In Finland, I saw one signal and they all moved. There was no inefficiency, no disorderliness. It was completely very well controlled. And we're talking over there, it was children between the ages of 6 to 17. And it was really 6 to 13 rather. It's really a pleasure to see that. So we put our thoughts into it, talked to our staff, and came up with the ideas of what we needed to do to make this process be able to be workable, and also to be reflective that if it's not, let's make adjustments.
Yeah. So you brought this idea back and you're like, hey, we could have 4 recesses. And the teachers were like, yay or nay?
No, I'm so glad you asked. There were several. They were like, hey, you want us to get these high test scores. So how are we going to do that? By losing time in the seats. And I started, studying more. There are physical, cognitive, social, and emotional benefits to every child being outside, in addition to the adults as well. So that essentially, once my teachers agreed upon the process that we were, which is, hey, you blow the whistle, you move, and you go, and those kids will come, and they do, you actually get more time back in the classroom because the children are refreshed, they're rejuvenated, they've had enough time to process some harder content, and we've had complete and continued academic scores every year that we've done this. And we're a
Oh, I
high
love
poverty
this.
school, and that excites us.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love this. I was just going to ask you, what successes are you seeing? Because I do know that I have teacher friends and teachers that I'm engaged with, and the recess is almost a drain, right? Like I think they tend to feel very negative about it. Not really, but just like it's such a time suck, I think. And the kids come back and they're chatty. They have a hard time getting back to the classroom material. And it's almost like thinking about what you're saying is the kids know they get 4 recesses, right? So this isn't the only time that they're going to be outside today. And also, as a play therapist, we know that kids' play is their language and how they work through problems. So I love this idea that kids are able to get more time outside. And to be honest, as a mom, I'm thrilled about this idea. Like when I heard of this program, I was like, I have to talk to this principal because I want to bring this to other schools, because I think sometimes kids don't get to play outside. I think a lot of times we have a very fast life, and depending on what else is going on, they need time outside. They need time to process the material. Just like cramming for a test doesn't work super well. So like when we're learning the material, we need time away, and nature is so restorative, and being outside and playing, which is exactly the thing that kids are supposed to do developmentally. Like I just love all of this stuff. So back to my question, which was, what successes are you seeing?
Attendance improved. Well, first of all, as a high poverty, high diverse school in the state of Virginia, we must measure up with our accreditation, and ours is completely where it needs to be in terms of academic content, in terms of attendance, and decreased behavior. I can't say that enough. For children who suffer trauma and things that I'm not aware of, but giving them that opportunity to learn how to socially interact and to explore and discover in short bursts of time has been extremely productive for our students. And our teachers will tell you, they can go out, they can jump rope with the kids. It's not a burden. I think the culture of recess is what needs to shift in terms of why it's working. And it works very well. I enjoy it. I go out and I'll swing with the kids. They know.
I love that. Yeah. Well, and it also develops a relationship with those kids that is an adult caring about a kid in a way that is beneficial to their development, of like, we can play too. I think as adults, we sometimes forget to play, and we need to play too. And so being playful with the kids actually develops a healthy relationship. So I love that piece that the teachers are playing too. So tell me the logistics on recess. What does it look like? How do the times work?
I think the first thing is essentially we have 4 15-minute breaks, and that 15 minutes includes potential for learning opportunity as they're lining up, because you can flash through a series of number cards or alphabet letters or words that children are reading, and they just know it's their turn, and they're walking through the line and they're saying the answers, and they're already going outside to play. The whistle is blown, it signals, teachers start moving. We make sure that there are people outside in the event there's a student who left a jacket or something of that nature, so that they're not left behind. And then we all go in, and it's all safety and secure. All doors are locked. We have a security system to get in and out. But you can't line 400 kids up at one door, so you have to have multiple ways, which again, when you start thinking about a school and the systems there, you can come look at another school and borrow. Like for us, we saw what was working in Helsinki, and I could parlay that here. One of the funniest things, though, or 2 things I can think of, the first year we did it, our kindergarten teachers were like, oh, there's no way, they're too far to walk, oh my. And my physical education teacher, who's been a real advocate for this, said, let's try it. Let's just see what happens. And sure enough, easily they can do that transition very quickly, because little kindergartners can walk with a purpose. The other part that I thought is the school counselor just told me, Joni, I don't think I've ever seen a student fall asleep at their desk outside. I thought that was
Yes, I mean, I love this idea of getting kids more active. So do you do the whole school at the same time? Are they divided recesses? What's the logistics in this?
most of the time. There are at least twice when the whole school is out there, mainly because we have to honor specials times, for phys ed and the regular other structured parts by grade level, as well as lunch, because not everyone's all eating lunch at the same time. But I think what happens is kids don't get their ability to plan with their friends. So if you have 4 of them and say, hey, I'll play with you at the 3rd recess, or let's go outside and we'll climb on the monkey bars or play, I don't know, superheroes. They're planning, they're thinking about this, which is very good, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when we think about executive functioning, this is a superpower to be able to think about the time, organize yourself, and plan for that. That's amazing. So that's something I know I find myself wishing that schools did more of. And it sounds like your plan of adding more recess actually is giving that ability to have foresight to things, even for the little kids.
We've had visitors come see our model and we've spoken to them and it's starting to germinate and grow. And I would love to see it because it doesn't have to cost a dime. It's not political and it's exactly what kids need these days, I think. And the adults too. I do.
So why do you think it's working so well?
That's a great question. At first, it could have been because, we really put a good plan in place and we worked through it. We had like 8 so-called buckets, if you want to call it. We were concerned about what we're going to do if there's an emergency. What about the supervision? What about the transitions? What about the equipment? What about the, oh goodness gracious, the rules, what habits, all this sort of thing. And we came up with 3 words: less is more. The idea that children don't know how to play is not necessarily true. They've not always been given enough opportunity to interact and try it. One of the things I loved in Finland was seeing and listening to them talk about, hey, if the kid climbs a tree and climbs too fast or falls, they'll learn something from it. Now, granted, we don't want anyone to get hurt, but at the same time, interacting, I've not seen children not be careful and courteous to others, no matter what their background is, when they're given that opportunity. I really believe that. We don't isolate our kids. We don't have like 3rd grade can only play here. It's blended because we share our students.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it just provides so many opportunities, I think, to grow in such a positive thing and to see modeled bigger kids or littler kids who are doing different things and being willing to try it.
And then when you have children like we have, 46% of our children don't speak English as a first language. So you go into a facility where you don't know what the language is and you don't have the ability to interact with anybody. All of a sudden you can see maybe it's a cousin, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's an aunt or an uncle in this elementary school. That breaks down barriers.
Mm-hmm. I love this. It's so inclusive. And I think it would be fun, like thinking about being a kid and getting to play with all the grades is great. And I know like seeing my siblings at recess, or I have kids that are in elementary school and them getting to see each other and be able to say like, hi, or what are you doing? Or how is your day? Or give a hug or whatever. Like that's just so great too. Just that connection point to your people. I love this idea. And it sounds like it's also working well because the teachers have bought in.
Well, that's the interesting thing. As you know, there's been a teacher shortage and there have been, lots of years where it's different people. It's now a part of our culture in this building. And I think it would be very difficult to strip that away, so it's not like it's one person identified that's making this happen. It's a collective efficacy of everybody. When you talk to parents, the first week I did this, I was so scared. I thought, what have we done? What if we are messing up the scores? I was nervous. And my parents told me, Joni, they're coming home and they're tired. They're going to bed. They're actually sleeping. Keep it up. Then I would hear from others, hey, Joni, when they're outside and they're playing, they're thinking about what they just did. So they'll go in and they'll often pick up their pencil and fix whatever something they were working on without any kind of direction because they've been thinking about it. That's huge.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it seems like it's buy-in from the teachers. You clearly have buy-in from the students. I don't think you had to convince them.
They were on it. And when I've done some empathy interviews with kids or when I've talked to teachers, at the very beginning, the very first year, some of the comments from my staff is hilarious because they were like, goodness gracious, we thought she had lost her mind. But they said they had never, ever estimated, we had underestimated how kids can perform because they would come right into the classroom, no directions, just pick up that pencil, keep on going, whatever it was that they were doing, and they're ready to go out on the next break. The kids will tell you. And I've not seen a single student come to the door to go outside for recess and walk very slowly. They're bursting with energy.
Mm-hmm. They're ready. I mean, I think our culture around keeping students in desks all day. I mean, I get that we have to perform. I get that we want certain test scores and that we want our kids to learn certain things, but we're not made to sit. I mean, when we think about who we were as years ago when we were walking the plains, right? We moved. We would walk as much as 24 miles a day. And there's no way I'm doing that now. And there's no way that kids are even doing that with sitting so much. So giving them more time to be active is so important, and connect. It's a time to connect with peers, because we also don't want them talking in class, right? I bet they're less disruptive when they get time to connect.
You're very, very well said. Our discipline, that's the first thing we noticed in the first 2 months of doing this. It was like, wow, because we found another way to, like you said, connect with the students. And also, when you've got a teacher out there who can do double Dutch jump rope, whatever you want to call it, and they're like 60 and they can show that, those kids are like, wow. The other part is in class. When you have children who have special needs, sometimes that's evident in the classroom, sometimes it's not. Outside of recess, you're not going to be able to tell. And I love that, because it's another chance for children to show and gain social confidence with each other. I really like that.
Yeah, to bring their confidence up. I think it feels good to be connected to people and to have something that you're looking forward to. And I can imagine, I mean, just in theory, this makes so much sense. So I'm so glad that in practicality, it's working. Have you had any feedback from parents that they're saying, no, this is bad, or we don't want to be there?
Some of my parents that are brand new to bringing their child to school often think that when you're around a child that has a sneeze or a sniffle, and COVID certainly made that a little bit more underscored, that, that's not safe. When in fact, being inside the building with the germs all day long is way more unhealthy than going outside and getting fresh air. I have children on health plans, but I've had no pediatrician, not one, tell me they're not recommending for the child to go outside, not one. And that's 6 years so far.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, and it's fascinating. So the way that I came to get to know your program is I was talking to a pediatrician in your area, and something that she said to me that made me feel like I have to know about this is she was talking about, Dr. Allen was saying, I have kids in that school that have ADHD that I'm needing to medicate later because they have more time to regulate with movement. And I was like, yeah, that makes so much sense. So it's not saying that we're getting rid of any diagnosis. It's just that we're giving kids the skills that they need, the movement that they just need biologically. It's how we're wired.
We brought some logs, just some regular wood logs. And when we brought them out, probably about 20 of them, we brought them out. We just thought, wonder what this is going to do. Oh my goodness. If you were to watch the dexterity, the strength, and we're talking, maybe 4-inch by maybe, 12 inches, whatever, pretty heavy. They would build forts, they build recliners. It's just the most interesting thing to watch.
I love that.
To me, it's what schools should be. And can be.
Mm-hmm. Which leads me to my next thought, which was, do you think that other schools should be following this model, and why?
100%. I believe that teachers are like students. Everybody's a learner. Breaks help us. There's a whole lot of explosion on the brain breaks, but typically when you're doing brain breaks, you're inside the same environment. There's something about getting outside with natural sunlight and, being around dirt or ground or just a different smell in the air, if you will. For our children, many of our children don't have yards, and I guarantee a lot of other schools have children that don't have backyards or don't have the ability to even move outside of just getting inside the house. So physically, it's so important. Plus, it cuts down obesity. The other thing that I think that all schools should look at is it will improve your academics, your attendance, your behavior. You've just got to think about it. It's the why. It's not like some little canned recipe. You have to think about it from, why do you want children to be able to go outside? What are you hoping for? And when we did our clarifying questions to dig deeper, what were we really worried about? We realized that the active supervision involves all of us, because it gives us the chance as teachers to be able to interact with the students that sometimes we have to work a little harder to build that relationship with. Mm-hmm. And right there it is. You throw a football at a kid and suddenly say, I kind of might need to listen to that person a little bit more. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it builds rapport. They connect. And why would a kid not want to go to school when school is fun, right? When we're having a good time. I mean, learning is fun. It's hard, but it is also fun. And I think when we take the fun out of learning is when kids are more likely to have school avoidance, right? Or they're quote unquote too sick to attend school, right? Maybe they're not, but they're not feeling like they belong or want to be there, or that they have people that they connect to. And when you feel like you connect, you want to be there.
One of our family members, actually a community member, spoke to me and said, for one child, the child might want to go out and do dances and do ballerina moves, and another child might want to go out and color with chalk. Meanwhile, another child is dying to get outside and play soccer because they go get the rematch kind of thing. So what I like about it is the kids have so much choice, and they have the ability to. We've had bubbles. We had somebody trying to teach volleyball last year. Who knows? It's whatever idea you want to bring. We're pretty much going to go along with it because it's good for kids and teachers.
Yeah, playing is so important. I love this. Okay, so I am obviously motivated to get this into my local schools, but nationally, right? Like I would love for the United States to be a system that does this for recess, that really looks at what is good for kids, and also learning is good for kids and activity is good for kids. And we have so many things that could be resolved with physical activity, like behavior issues, increasing attendance, increasing test scores, increasing connection, right? Like there's the benefits seem endless here. What advice do you have for somebody like me who wants us to get into our schools? What can we do? How do we make this happen?
I've seen it done a couple of different ways. One way is recognizing what it is that your school's already doing, because often it's easier to move from the familiar to the unfamiliar. So just, learning, is there at least one recess? Is it two? What time of day is it? And I think I've seen it really get organically grown the best when it comes from parents, because parents can go to their local school board. The state of Virginia is a perfect example of that, because recess minutes are now considered instructional minutes by our legislature. And I'm thrilled about that, because I think that's that confusion of recess being a waste of time. It is not. It is a highly productive part of the day. I've also seen it that one person, I've seen one parent actually influence an entire school division because they got on the agenda through the protocol procedures, bring it up as an information item, and then inviting, and I'm really pleased to say that is actually happening in a division near us. I think it's not the kind of thing that needs to be a real difficult conversation. It would be good to find out what the reservations were. I mean, my own reservations when we first did it, even though I saw it in Finland, was the what am I going to do about the test scores? What am I going to do about it if teachers don't like it? What am I going to do if it blows up and this thing doesn't work? All of those are natural fears, but when you come together with a group and you work through it, you will be in 3 weeks of doing this, and it's usually 3 weeks for a habit, you're going to see benefits in a school.
Yeah, I love this idea that it could be so easily implemented. So when we're looking broader, obviously I'm going to take this to my school board and get on the agenda and pass it to everybody I possibly can. What thoughts do you have for, or what do you want teachers and parents and principals and administrators to take away from this conversation, where we're introducing this idea that 4 recesses could be a pivotal change to solving a lot of the issues that we have in school?
It's interesting you bring this up, because we're coming off of Jonathan Haidt's Anxious Generation book about phone-based childhood and play-based childhood. I would like every parent, every teacher, every principal, every even student that's listening to this is let's go back to not back, it's not the right word. Let's review this play-based learning, because it's critical for healthy social and emotional regulation. It's so paramount for the physical benefits of just being able to run and get that energy out. It helps your concentration, your overall decompression in your mental cognitive abilities. And the best thing is we're happy. And I think happiness is already a good thing in education. I really do.
Yeah. Yes, this is so profound.
If recess was used, it's used so much as a carrot and a stick.
Yes.
We do not allow any of that. No teacher can take recess away. If anyone takes recess away, it is very rare, it would be myself or the assistant principal. And typically what it tells us is this child needs more help when they're around kids they're not familiar with or needs suggestions. And so I know it's effective, but that's one of the things you got to break too, is a habit. Because if you talk to a principal, they're going to tell you, well, it's a good motivator. No, it's not.
This is something that I have struggled with, is like, a kid getting taken away from recess for poor behavior or catching up on work. And I say, that doesn't work. What we need is the kid that you think needs it taken away is the kid that needs it more, right? They need it twice as much.
And I thought of myself, because I probably would be an ADHD kid nowadays. We have 4 children. Of the 4, 3 of them were Division I athletes. We didn't put them on any meds, but we're farm people, so we have to work through it. But bottom line is, I would be that kid sitting out there at the end, waiting for the teacher to just stare down. I would not come if she's just going to stand there. More I thought about it, I thought, if I see my teacher moving, I'm going to hightail it in the building. Mm-hmm. And as soon as we did that, that was the very first thing we did, day 1. Never had to look back, because I knew that kid, but I ain't coming in line.
Yeah, because you wanted more time outside, and it makes sense. I appreciate that part. And I think also just having a lot of things for kids to do, but also not, because kids will just find stuff. I mean, I know even at my own house, my kids will create games and use their imagination, which is so critical for development.
I was out there one day and there was a talent show going on. They had the MC, God knows what they were doing, but it was in bilingual, it was in both. And I just thought, this right here matters. And then they're like, we'll be back here at the next one. They were just really, going with their ideas. And
I love it.
About cooperation too. Yes. I like teachers who are new to the building, who've never seen this, are like, God, I wish we'd have done that at my other school. I'm like, we're on something here.
Yes, no, truly. And I would imagine that you're able to employ teachers more easily. Like, they're interested, like once they get into it, they don't want to leave, because they're like, this is success. Like, this matters. Yes. Yeah. Happy people, right? Whether it's kids or grownups, it all matters.
Matters a lot. I was nervous, so I'll be honest. I can respect why people are a little bit timid about it, especially administrators. However, have you push through it. The reason you went into administration, because hopefully you want to help. This gives people an opportunity to do it. I'm not the only one doing it, but I know it works here, and I'm really thrilled to help grow it.
Yes, absolutely. I will include the research that you shared with me in our show notes, and different information for parents and administrators and principals and school boards and teachers to look at. But I would love if we made a movement towards getting 4 recesses in all of our school districts throughout the United States. That would be amazing.
I would love it. And I know it can be done, because it is happening in other countries. It's happening in other cultures. I know we can do this, and it's right for kids. It really is.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming and presenting this to us. I am so excited.
I can't wait. Good luck. Keep me posted.
Thanks again, Joni. I am so motivated. I hope that you are motivated too, because I think it's going to take a movement to change this thought around recess. Recess is part of growth. Recess and play is part of how kids develop, and we need more time with recess. Our kids need to be outside. They need to be with each other. They need to be able to connect. Our teachers need to be happy. This could help us with test scores like it has in Virginia. It could help with behavior issues. I think there is no way to lose here. So let's get in a place where we kind of make some noise and we let people know that 4 recesses is where it's at. And we want to see our kids succeed like that. I hope that you took something away from this episode today. I know that I am so empowered to go forward and try to make a change. I'd love it if you would rate and subscribe to our show, if you would follow us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and TikTok, and also keep the emails coming with topic suggestions for future show episodes. We are loving them, to accidentalexperts@gmail.com. Have a fantastic day. Some words from our legal team.
The information presented in this podcast is not intended or implied to be a substitute for appropriate professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. All content, including text, graphics, images, and information contained on or available through this podcast, is for general information purposes only This podcast makes no representations and assumes no responsibility for the accuracy or information on or available through this podcast, and such information is subject to change without notice. You are encouraged to confirm any information obtained through this program with other sources and review all information regarding any condition or treatment with the appropriate professionals.
What we're saying is, yes, I am a real therapist, but I'm not your therapist.